Hello and welcome to another Imperator Rome video. Now the Emperor's at War stream that is going on this weekend just ended about less than half an hour ago, but there was things to talk about that I want to talk about because they're interesting. So let's just get right into it. So there's a few things that I have forgotten to talk about in previous videos, so I'll go over those first. And mostly that's UI scaling. So in the options menu, there is a way to just quickly, scale up the UI and scale it back down again just by using a slider, and it's immediate. There's no need to, restart your game or anything like that. So if you are on a smaller monitor, you can scale the UI to whatever you need it to. If you're on like a 4K monitor, you can scale the UI bigger or smaller. I actually don't know which one's better for somebody with a bigger screen. I don't know. But anyway, you can scale the UI to your heart's content and it just works perfectly. So some things that we've learned in this stream that maybe have been spoken about before, but I can't remember it, so I'm just going to go over it anyway. So first off, we've got this screen here. This is the Automate Armies screen. So you can see here that when you're trying to automate your armies, you can choose no objective. You can have independent operations, so units act independently out of their own volition. I don't know really what that's going to entail, like what the unit will actually do, but anyway. Maybe they'll just act like random AI, like vassals or something that you haven't got set to anything. You've got defend borders, units defend and if necessary retake your territory. Fight rebels, units attack rebel armies and besiege rebel held territory. Reconnaissance, units sweep forward and report enemy movements in the vicinity. This one's quite interesting, I'll come back to that. And then keep in reserve, units stay behind and unless superior, avoid the enemy. So, Reconnaissance. I'm kind of wondering mostly about this word here, report enemy movements. Are you going to get a pop-up when you see enemies? Because if so, that's very, very interesting indeed. I also wonder if they're going to avoid enemies. So I can see this being useful if you want to put like a bunch of triremes, your boats, on reconnaissance mode, maybe just like individual one stack boats, and they'll just go and search for things. I imagine that might work the best way. I'm not sure yet, but it does indeed seem interesting. Also, just while we're here, I'll just chuck this one back on. Being over your relations limit is not like in EU4 where you will get -1 Diplo point per month for being 1 over your relationship limit, and then -2 per month, -3 per month, etc, etc, etc. Instead, it is a plus percentage to your power cost. And I think, do I have that here? No, I don't. Okay. Basically, I think it's 10% if you're over your relationship limit by 1. Then I imagine it's going to be 20% for being 2 over, but I don't know for sure. I'm not sure exactly what the ratios there are. But yeah, I just found that interesting, and I actually really kind of prefer this system to EU4's. There's a lot of things that I'm thinking Imperator does really well that I want to see in EU4. Things like forts sieging adjacent provinces, this system for your power costs, a big one being the automated armies. I really want to see that. But yeah, I just found that interesting as well, so I thought I'd share that with you. So onto the third screen, which I already kind of spoiled. This is your forced march penalties. So when you're in forced march stance, your army weight is increased by 50%. Now, if you remember back to the video I did on unit weights, remember elephants were like, I think it's plus 200% weight, so 1 elephant weighs as much as 4 not light infantry, probably should use a different one because they have a different modifier. They weigh as much as 4 light cavalry, for example. If you're forced marching, that's an extra 50% on top of that again, though I imagine it's probably base as 1. So it'd be 4.5, sorry, 450%. It depends whether these are additive or multiplicative stacking, so we'll have to wait and see on that one as well. But yeah, I hadn't seen these modifiers explicitly stated anywhere, so I thought I'd share that one with you as well. When you are in debt, when you have a negative balance, these are the various things that can happen. So this is just one of the potential outcomes. So right now we see he's gone this guy. It's a bit like, you know, choosing your army's stance. Like they have little pictures that mean something. This is one of them. There are multiple things that can happen when you go into a deficit. When you're in your positive income and you hover over this area, it will give you a % chance for various things to happen. So when Kazuyohan here went into negative money, he got this potential outcome. I believe this gave him a bunch of money, though it's just from hearing these guys say that I pass that on to you. I don't know if that's what actually happened, whether they were guessing or what. But either way, monthly loyalty of your characters goes down by 0.2. That will stack up, especially if you're in like a big war and you're not planning on getting out of your deficit anytime soon. This is going to stack up. Loyalty gain chance plus 10%. I think this is to do with your armies, so your troops' loyalty to the general, which is not you, it's not the state, goes up by 10%. That's why it's in red, because it's a bad thing. And also your power costs up by 25%, which is going to be quite painful. So, one last thing I want to share with you is this little clip here, so I'll play it now.
They go to different provinces or cities that you own, but mainly to your capital.
Yeah. They will spread out, but like mainly your capital will be the main benefactor.
But it's important to keep an eye on the population, because if you have more slaves than any other pop in your city, there's a chance for a slave revolt. So you need to keep an eye on that.
So as you can see, he was talking about slaves there. When you're sieging a province, you have the chance to take slaves back. And before, there was no indication of where those slaves would go other than to the capital. What he just said there makes me think that while it's weighted towards going to your capital, they'll actually go to multiple provinces, or multiple cities, I should say. I don't remember that being said anywhere other than that little clip. So, I don't know, maybe don't take my word on that one, but that's what it sounds like to me, and I kind of hope that is the case, because I can imagine if you're in a really prolonged war, you're not going to be really looking at your capital and sorting out where you're putting your slaves, and you could quickly find yourself in a slave revolt. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here. This was a really, really enjoyable stream. I think it was, yeah, it was kind of awesome. And just to talk a little bit about it, Kazuyohan did phenomenally well. Actually, one thing I do want to say. Kazuyohan did very well, mostly because he chose the war goal. If he had waited until he was attacked, he would have been completely destroyed. He was outmatched, manpower-wise, man-wise, etc., etc. But by him choosing the war goal, he was able to, you know, put his troops over into the province of Europa, which is right here. He had the boats to defend the strait against Egypt and the Seleucids coming over, and yeah, he just managed to win. He also was using Assassinate Character or Assassinate Ruler on the Seleucids a lot, apparently something like 8 or 10 times or something like that, and that resulted in Seleucids completely collapsing. They are done. They're not going to be back in the next stream, I don't imagine, because yeah, he just completely destroyed it. So that makes me a little bit worried for multiplayer if Assassinate Ruler is perhaps a tiny bit too strong. But again, it's pre-release developer streams, so this is the kind of thing they're looking out for, and if they agree that it might be a little bit too strong, then you can imagine it'd be changed for release. Anyway, now I've said that, that's all I want to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't watched the stream, I urge you to go watch it. It's a lot of fun. and I will see you guys in the next video. So bye bye for now.